We also learned how to construct a histogram in Excel. Histograms are useful for looking at how the data are distributed. We normally do this step after we've already run the descriptive analysis so that we can use the statistics to tell us whether or not the graph that we've constructed is a good, authentic, or accurate representation of the data. In other words, we need to see things like the skewness and kurtosis beforehand to figure out if the bins that we've selected are good ones to use, and again will reflect the actual statistics. So the first thing we want to do is take a look at our range of scores. An easy way to do that might be to go to your data here and use the sort feature. To do that, you want to be on home. Let's go to editing here, sort and filter, and let's just sort from smallest to largest. Here we see that our data just resorted in an ascending order. The point of why we do this is, again, it tells us kind of where our lowest and highest scores are, and therefore how can we best bucket or collapse or group these numbers together to create the bins that help us determine how to plot and graph our scores. So we see that we have a range from about 3 to 87, so let's test out breaking the scores into groups of 15. So to do that, we're going to start here in column B. Let's type bin. This is our new label or for another variable. And then let's start bracketing into groups of 15. So 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, and then 90. And again, we're choosing 15 because we want to kind of evenly distribute these scores and make sure that we're covering all of them. 15 to 90 seems like a pretty good range. Now, in order to graph the histogram, we're going to go to Data here. Let's go all the way to the far right to our Data Analysis. Again, if you're using Macs, it's Tools, and then Data Analysis. And then we want to click on Histogram and hit OK. The input range, again, is our scores. So let's select this. Let's click Score in cell A1. Click and drag all the way down to A20. Right. In the bin, let's make sure we select everything in our new bin column. So starting from cell B1, I'm going to grab that label and click and drag all the way down to B7. Okay. Again, let's check labels because we grabbed here these headers, these labels for our variables. So let's check this. Output options we can leave as new worksheet ply. And then let's make sure that we select chart output. When you're ready, hit OK. In here we have our histogram, and then our bin and our frequency. So you can see the frequency or the amount of scores that fall into each of the bins that we made. So right now we want to edit this graph. We don't need this more and this 0 category, which Excel automatically computes. To get rid of it, we can simply highlight this row. So if I click on 8, this is row 8, I can click on the whole thing and everything gets highlighted, all cells in the row get highlighted. I can right click and I can delete. And it's removed, and I can now see it's gone from the graph. Okay. Now we can see here that we can pull the graph out and see how the data is distributed, which looks pretty good, but we might also want to do some alterations and editing to this chart. So for example, we might not need this here, this frequency. Let's get rid of that. We might want to change this to a different title that's a bit more leading and clear to the reader. Frequency distribution of these were science scores. And then we might want to change this bin to just scores. Perhaps the reader wants to see the number of scores in each, so we can add data labels. I just clicked on the data here and I added data labels. You can change the color by clicking on these bars. Go to Format. We can change it to a different color if we like. You can change the color of this too, the text. We can make them bold here, bigger, and so forth. You might not want these lines, or sorry, these axes. labels, because we already have the number of scores here, we can delete this. And we can do things like add grid lines. So if I go to design, and then we can go here to grid lines, let's add the major. You can play with it until you get it to what you like. But here is our histogram.